Yo, shout out to Russ. Thanks for calling in. Now going on to the next topic of the day, I'm going to let Dr. Robert Baskerville spearhead this point. There's a petition going out that Mount Vernon residents who are fed up are signing, and I'm going to let you explain it all and break it down for the people.
Right. So as you guys know, and as probably many of our listeners know, almost from the very outset of the Thomas administration, the mayor has found himself embroiled in a legal dispute with the city council over their respective powers. A number of irregularities that the Thomas administration committed was the impetus for this dispute, including tearing down the Ray's home, the zombie home on Park Avenue, without having, given the owner due process, appointing non-resident commissioners.
He said he couldn't find the owner.
Well,
I'm just saying, that's what he said, right?
He may have. I don't recall. I'll let you represent the mayor here. But this is part of a larger pattern of both unethical and illegal activities that are beginning to jeopardize the city in many respects. For example, I'm under the impression that Mega Beverage has announced that
a $5 million lawsuit
against
the city of Mount Vernon. I think it was filed probably around Thursday or something. And I think
Thursday,
the city
Friday.
might have received their copy, Friday. I think it was filed maybe Thursday. They're suing they're suing for $5 million for being closed down. They have two dates they were closed down. They for no reason at all is what is alleged. And through the closing, them being closed, they lost a major contract with Budweiser that was worth $1 million a year.
Okay.
So they're suing for damages, lost wages, pain and suffering, and whatever else you throw in there, the why you fuck with me fee or whatever
Right.
else. Yeah.
So this is just one example of a larger pattern of practices that have jeopardized the city's interests in many respects. Financial, because the mayor has expended a lot of money on litigation that has actually proven to be pointless. He is being has a suit by Mega Beverage. It's probably likely that OK Freddy is going to follow up at some point once he becomes a
very near future.
Yeah, assuming when he gets the word.
I'm hearing that there's a lot of pending or lawsuits in the works. There were 3 lieutenants.
You heard chatter?
Yeah, I've heard chatter. Yes.
Chatter.
So, supposedly there were 3 lieutenants who, and Brenda Crump has just posted it on the People Before Politics page in the comment section. Post that under the live video on my page too, if you don't mind, Brenda. The 3 lieutenants that were, actually 4 lieutenants were promoted, and then 3 were rescinded. I understand 1 or if not all 3 of them are suing.
Wow.
Yeah. We knew there was a lawsuit. Andre Wallace was suing for his money, which the mayor's lawsuit, his court case put on hold for a while, and the judge, I guess, ruled in the councilman's favor. So I believe the process is that now that lawsuit begins to start again, or continues, or wherever it was. And there's several others that I can't even think of that just from this year alone.
Right. So as part of the petition, a coalition of city residents, have identified both unethical and illegal practices that the mayor has committed within just the past 6 months of his administration. With respect to unethical practices, I have to say probably foremost amongst those is the fact that he has appointed Joseph Spezio to serve as his deputy police commissioner. At the same time, Spezio will have to make rulings about law that have a direct impact on his business and on that of his competitors in the karting industry. And we saw just how, dangerous this conflict of interest became when Spezio found himself involved in a very nasty public spat with Councilman Andre Wallace.
Wow, he got a promotion, congressman. He was like, hey, gee, he was the distinguished gentleman there.
I didn't mean to get ahead of anything here, but the very fact that prompted him to make another ethical, if not lawful, breach by threatening to do bodily harm to the councilman underscores the seriousness of the appointment of Joe Spezio as deputy police commissioner when he's also subject to the very rules that he's and laws that he's supposed to be enforcing.
Can I cut real quick and just, people are listening. So I clicked on the link that was posted, and it takes me to a page. I guess the petition has its own page. And are you able, is this a sign-in at the bottom where you can literally sign in online? Like you don't have to sign on paper? You can do
right.
You can do an online sign-in?
Yeah, you could do an online sign in your petition.
Oh, okay. So for the petition he's talking about, you can click on the link that's on both of our pages, the People Before Politics page and the AJ Woodson page under the radio show, and it will take you to a link of the where you can read the petition, what it's about, what it involves, and you can actually sign right then and there. If you are, a little old school and you want to sign paper, that can be arranged too. We can, you can do that, but you can do it right here online. Go ahead. I just wanted to bring that up just for anybody who's listening to you right now.
And it has an option to have your signature shown public, or you can sign the petition and it won't be shown.
I'm looking at that now, and the sign. Let's see the people who signed. The signatory decided not to show his or her name on the internet. So even now,
even if
you work for City Hall, and you just like, yo, I can't take it no more, but you don't want to put your job on the line, this is actually something you can sign. This is like the first thing I've seen for people like that. Because I've heard people say, and this is not just this administration, this goes back to the last administration too, when they were like, yo, I'd sign that, but Joe, dude, I want to keep my job. Like, you know what I'm saying? It looks like the way this was set up.
Or if you are a homeowner or a business owner and you are fearful that the mayor or his minions may take some sort of retaliatory action against you.
Mega Beverage didn't mind signing in.
Yeah, you can anonymously sign.
Yeah, they didn't feel the need to be anonymous.
What?
Mega Beverage, yeah, number 11. Yeah.
Oh, that's what number 11?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's because they probably realize that the administration is guilty of at least 20 or more either unethical or illegal actions during the first 6 months, and these are very serious. And as we indicate in the petition, it does do harm to the city in a number of ways financially. It also does harm politically because by having non-resident commissioners serving in this as the chief officials of the city, you undercut the principle of home rule and self-governance. The reason why you want members of your own community to serve in these positions is because they have a direct feel for the pulse of the community. They have a long history of networks with other members of the community. And when they are thinking about how best to serve the community's interests, very often they're thinking about fellow businessmen and businesswomen who live in the community as opposed to appointing outside contractors who don't live in the community. So not only does it undercut the principle of home rule, it also undercuts, our constitutional system. And all these ideas and objections are laid out in full in the petition. But in any case, I want to encourage people to take a look at the petition and sign it. Essentially what we're doing is we're asking City Council to resolve the current dispute with the mayor by exercising its legislative powers and doing the following.
Let me just read. I see this last paragraph. I'm like, it sounds kind of powerful. It is our belief that the failure to take these steps, it named a bunch of steps that I guess was suggested that it should take. To take these steps will constitute a dereliction of the council's legal obligation to uphold the statutes of the city charter and the ordinance of the city. Should the council vote against the steps urged in our petition or simply ignore them altogether, we will be left to conclude that members are duplicit. Did I say that right?
Duplicitous?
Okay, yes, that word. And the mayor's unethical and illegal conduct. Under such circumstances, we are prepared to take additional steps against both the council and the mayor, either by referring this matter to the New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman or by filing an Article 78 against both branches of government for violations of the city charter and local ordinance. And again, you right under that you can sign. And I'm looking at this whole thing going through it. You could actually leave a comment.
Mm-hmm.
One person left a comment saying, Mount Vernon elected officials, mayor, controller, city council members, please adhere to the city charter of the law because each of you were elected by the residents to be leaders to represent and protect all residents of our great city of Mount Vernon. Elected officials are not exempt from abiding by the law. Every resident is expected to adhere to the Mount Vernon City Charter. Leaders, please lead with integrity, accountability, and transparency. Wow. So yeah,
it would be nice since just about everyone who ran in the last election made those major themes.
So this is, you know what? So now let me delve into this a little deeper. I don't know if the word groundbreaking is the right terminology to use. Like, I don't remember, and I'm new to really being this active in government and community and politics and all that, but I don't remember in the recent past where I've seen in any municipality of Westchester or anywhere in New York State for that matter, I don't know about around the country, where the residents took their rights that they, that are, and actually, instead of complaining, went as far as to, hey, put the council on notice, and if you don't do these things, we're taking you and the mayor to court for being in violation of the charter. I think that's very bold, and I think that's like, remember, Damon, we were having a conversation, marching by itself does not change things.
Right.
You can march till the cows come home. You can protest in front of City Hall, block the entrances to their car. Whatever you're going to do, they still going to work the next day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can complain. You can complain all over Facebook, and basically, whatever's going on is still going to continue to go on. But this seems to be a bold move that I don't recall, and maybe you're more knowledgeable about this. I don't recall seeing anything like this in the last decade or so, like from the black community.
So far as I know, in the city of Mount Vernon and a number of other municipalities across the country, it's unprecedented so far as I know.
But this is well within. Now, for people, so you got to break things down because there's people like, yo, hold on. We can't be threatening the council and the mayor. That blase. This,
Nobody.
You have no threatening if they don't do. That's that's how some people look. I'm going by the terminology some people use, and then oh you need, don't be messing with them because basically like them house niggas back in the days, oh man, Master gonna be mad at us, that kind of mentality. It's well within the rights of the residents to actually take these kind of actions against a sitting mayor and sitting members of the city council.
Absolutely, the city charter.
Yeah. I can you. Oh shoot! You better leave the mayor alone. They done messed up. They
I don't know, boss.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do.
They done messing with the airwaves. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I couldn't resist. Go ahead.
Although this may seem unusual, if you actually read
Into the mic. Yes.
If through the statutes of the city charter, resident taxpayers of the city are identified as trustees, and in unusual circumstances like this, they can, exercise their rights to insist that the law be adhered to. So yes, they can take independent action. People have to remember that in our system of governance, vigorous participation from the people was envisioned as part of the regular dynamic of a democracy. The town hall meeting, in the eyes of many of the original founders and political theorists, was the real embodiment of democracy at work. And so, for residents of the city of Mount Vernon to petition the city council to vigorously enforce the law as is required to is just an extension of that principle. Vilification of that principle.
So let me ask you a question. For those who have and the response has been for the last 6 or 7 months, he just got there, give him a chance. He's trying to make a change. And then using that same argument, well, 2 councilmen, they just got there. It's a new council. Give them a chance. They've only been there a couple of months. How can you defend such a bold move against them? And it's only been a couple of, it's not like it's been 3 years. It's only been a couple of months. He hasn't had a chance to actually govern yet.
No, he has. With each and every decision that the mayor and the city council have made together, they have had a chance to either enforce the law or to ignore it. And at least in 20 major instances, both the city council and the mayor have done things that are allowed things that are unethical and do harm to the city to occur. And I would maintain that if the residents of the city don't take immediate action to stop such illegal and unethical decisions, 4 years going by and we may find that it has done irreparable harm that can't be reversed. Just for example, if you think about the frivolous lawsuits that the mayor has litigated thus far, we've had like about 3, at least a minimum of 3. You had, the OK Freddy stuff and Mega Beverage stuff. You had the lawsuit that the mayor filed against the city council, which he lost both of those suits. It's a good reason to believe that the mayor has put the city at financial risk because of the failure to follow due process
and they just lost a suit that was it was something small, $25,000 or something like that, something to do with the police, or somebody filed something, and I don't know how long ago it was, but they just won. It was in the Journal News like last week. I don't remember. I have to go look that up. I don't know if Brenda is listening and she can find that article. It was somewhere in Low HUD. It was somebody got paid for, I don't know when they get paid, but they got awarded with a settlement for something in the last week. But I think it goes back to the Davis administration. But it's still, it's another award that just comes out. It's coming out this year.
Right, and we don't want to hold the mayor responsible for actions that took place in prior administrations, but Mayor Thomas has engaged in a pattern, in my judgment, of frivolous litigation.
Now, in his defense, he has often stated in press conferences that he inherited this horrible mess, and he's doing all he can to fix it.
What has he inherited?
This is what he's been saying in press conferences. You have to ask the mayor.
That's what I'm saying. What has he inherited? I mean, he didn't inherit the plan to knock down a building of people that paid their taxes, did he? Was that inherited? I mean, that's what I'm trying to. He need to be clear on what he exactly, inherited, and he always forgets that for the 4 years that the mayor.
For the last term, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean he was in 4 terms, so the last.
Well,
one,
the last term.
Yeah.
I said 4 years.
Yeah.
So the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Richard Thomas was a councilman. So
now, I have questioned him about that, and his official answer was, Richard Thomas, the mayor, has more access to information that he didn't have as Richard Thomas, the councilman. And that's why
I don't understand, because he was just on the radio and he admitted he didn't read a lot of the bills that came across his thing.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh damn. Okay.
He said, I didn't know. I said, so why'd you vote for it? You didn't know. Well, that's how you do it. Who
actually,
does that?
I do remember that interview.
Who does that? And that was my question to him. Well, who votes on things that they don't even read about? And if you don't have enough information on it, why do you vote yes? I asked him that, and he said, well, that's how we do in Mount Vernon. Why do people say that? I don't get it. It makes black people look horrible. Horrible. And a lot of times I hear people say that, well, that's Mount Vernon. What? Is that your excuse? Is that your excuse, that you do ignorant shit? Or as my man Preston says, do you graduate summa cum laude to just stupid? Come on, man.
Your man was funny, though. Your man had me crying.
Come on. Who does that? Who votes on something that doesn't have the full information? And then you want to go up to another level of government? Dude, you want to go to the Senate and vote on a goddamn war, and you don't have the information? Just bomb them. Come on, who does that? This is not a game when you're dealing with government that deals with people's lives. It's consequences.
So we clarified that, so the residents have the right to be as so bold and to hold their elected officials' feet to the fire.
Yes,
and the charter
Charter's clear on it.
It's clear on it.
Charter is clear.
Okay.
Resident taxpayers are trustees of the property of the city, and they can take independent action to make sure that property is not damaged in any way. And this is exactly what's going to happen. I should point out that really the gist of the complaint that's set forth in the petition isn't so much with substantive policies that Mayor Thomas may or may not be proposing, but rather with the continued failure to adhere to the rule of law and the procedures that are set forth in the city council. Whether it's conflict of interest, appointing two people to serve in two commissionerships.
Now I do want to interrupt you there. So that was the talk of the week too. The supposed resignation of two long-term Mount Vernon Fire Department officials. One being the chief of operations. I think his name was Thomas Duffy, and the other that Lohud wrote the story Monday, I believe it was, or Tuesday, one of the days, that deputy, well, he's acting, his title is deputy commissioner, acting fire commissioner Ernest Richardson also handed his resignation in, to which it has been refuted that did not happen, and a statement went out later that I guess it was later rescinded. We didn't do a story because there were just so many varying details and moving parts. Everybody else covered it. So, but that was the big thing this week. So obviously, the commissioner, the deputy commissioner or acting commissioner is still there, but the chief of operations left. And when those two were supposed to have left, it was announced there was like 3 or 4 people so far who had left the Thomas administration. I mean, there was the controversial firing of the once heralded Robert Kelly. Then there was the immediate, unsuspecting resignation and retirement of Marion Vogel, the Mount Vernon water superintendent, and then that was right around the same time was Kelly. And then I believe 2 weeks ago, and I don't have the exact date, but it was a Thursday, was the last day of the HR commissioner, Poe. What's his name? Rick Poe. He resigned, and then the paper came out 2 weeks later that these two officials had died. Had resigned, and that's a lot of people. Just like you say, you haven't really given them a chance. It hasn't been that long. That's a lot of people in a short period of time. And with the one exception of Marion Vogel, I believe that's her name, the water superintendent, who was worked in the last administration, all of these were his appointees that are not there no more. So it's just a question of, it's not even just the fight, the infighting and the civil war between the city council and the mayor. And then, we had a former water commissioner during this time who just got 15 months for embezzlement. For what? So it's just like, bottom line at this point, and this is my interpretation, and you can please correct me if you want, but my interpretation from glancing at this real quick, it's too much shit going on in the Mount Vernon government, and residents who have signed or who will be exercised are just pissed off and fed up. I know they are, because we hear that all the time when you see it on Facebook, but I guess this would be a more proactive measure for those people to take. Am I correct in my assessment of all that? Was that the correct way of describing it?
Absolutely. It requires every officer of the city, both the mayor and the city council members, to do their job and enforce the law.
Now, who can sign and who can't sign?
You have to be a resident of the city of Mount Vernon.
Okay.
It'd be nice if, concerned homeowners.
What if you're not a registered voter?
No,
seriously.
But is that
just be a resident?
Wait,
over the age of 18.
Let me ask a question. Is that honestly true? Because unless this case was dealing with federal money, the housing, the segregation lawsuit was brought by an organization that wasn't even in Westchester, and they sued the county for not abiding by the agreement with HUD. That organization is not even in Westchester, and they brought a lawsuit against Westchester County, unless that's dealing with federal money because everybody pays federal taxes. I could be wrong.
That might have to be looked into, because I have no. I'm quick to let you know. When I don't know, I don't know.
That whole lawsuit was brought by an organization that's not even in Westchester County. And that's the only reason I'm pissed off at that lawsuit, because you settled for something that they're not doing to try to give up. And I think that money that they settled for should have been reinvested in the poor, in the distressed neighborhoods, instead of trying to build houses where white folks don't even want us. We already know Westchester is segregated. So why are you building homes where white folks don't want us, and just and you could take that money and actually invest it into the communities like Mount Vernon, Ossining, Peekskill, Port Chester, those places that they put the distressed people in, and help them and help them out. I really thought that was an ass backwards settlement, and it was brought by, and when I researched it, it's brought by a group that didn't even live in Westchester.
Well, I guess the difference is the name of this group is called the Mount Vernon Residents for the city charter. So maybe that's why it needs to be. I'm assuming.
Well,
like you just said, an organization that wasn't from, but the name of this organization is Mount Vernon Residents.
Right.
It's a petition.
Anybody can sign a petition.
The first stage in what may turn out to be a multi-stage process, trying to make sure that the rule of law is enforced in the city. And those petitions are addressed to the elected representatives.
So say they get the signatures they need, they hand this in. Does that mean, because the people signed, that the mayor and the city council are now going to do what they're supposed to do or haven't been doing because their signatures signed?
It means no such thing, but it certainly puts them on alert, number one, that their actions are being closely watched by members of the city, and that they are expecting the city council in particular to take a number of proactive steps to make sure that city government is functioning properly and, with integrity.
I think that could be a damning move, possibly to several of the candidates that are running for office next year. Had this, if this goes through that way, you know what I'm saying? That could be, by maybe, the way Mount Vernon is, there's Mount Vernon. It could die down by next year. Nobody even talk about it no more, too. So,
Listen, the city council is expressly forbidden from turning a blind eye to violations of the law on the part of any other officer of the city. It's very clear that Mayor Thomas has violated the charter of Mount Vernon by appointing non-residents to commissionerships. You cannot do that. The recent ruling by acting Supreme Court Nearing in his dispute with the city council made that clear. If the members of the city council do not enforce the residency provision of the charter, they're going to be guilty of complicity with the mayor, and they in turn will open themselves up to further action to possibly have them removed, have them found guilty of committing a crime in a court of law, and therefore have them removed.
Now you and I